I'm Chimwemwe Mangazi with Business Time on Times. It is a magazine program where we bring you business and economic news stories making headlines. In the program today, Malawi is targeting October 2024 as the month to join the African Continental Free Trade Area Guided Trade Initiative. Also in the program, Minority Shareholders Association of Listed Companies is targeting 56 companies to list on the Malawi Stock Exchange. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. Malawi is targeting October 2024 as the month to join the African Continental Free Trade Area's Guided Trade Initiative, the Ministry of Trade and Industry has said. The GTI is an AfCFTA pilot initiative which gives room to member states to conduct trade without charging each other customs duty. More in this report.
Speaking in Blantyre during a private sector engagement on AfCFTA, Minister of Trade Director of Trade in Goods, Charity Musonzo, said Malawi is ready to start trading under AfCFTA guidelines. She said an AfCFTA team is in the country to assess Malawi's readiness.
We are ready. But we are going to be more ready when all this process is completed, because this mission has come specifically for that, to assess Malawi's readiness. But there are other processes that need to be fulfilled. So once we complete those processes, then we will call ourselves ready. But in terms of all the documentation fulfillment at the AfCFTA level, Malawi is ready to participate. All things being equal, according to our plan, we are hoping that by October or latest December this year, we should have our first consignments ready. Competitiveness is a game of the people in the business, because what you take to the market will determine your competitiveness. So that's what we want to build into the companies that have been earmarked to pilot this process, because we want them to be fully equipped with what other countries that are already participating have done. It's not magic, it's something that they do every day. They just need to add a little bit of the necessary steps and processes to perfect the products that are going to take there, so that they are able to compete against the ones that are already on the market. But there are some unique products that Malawi is producing that are not already being traded under the GTI. So we want to take advantage of that, so that companies can take some unique products and be able to be competitive. So it's the way the contracts will be drawn that will address the competitiveness issue. But we also at local level, we need to prepare the companies to be able to meet the standards, to packaging, the packaging, and all other products, all other aspects that go into a product that can now stand the pressure from 54 other countries. Dumping is a very technical word. I wouldn't say that there will be dumping, but there's possibility that we'll be getting cheaper imports coming into the country, just as we have been doing all along. But what we need to do is to be proactive, have a proactive approach and take advantage of the opportunity. They are all products that we are producing that are needed out there. So if we just keep our products to ourselves and just produce enough for ourselves, then indeed we'll be able to consume products from other countries. But if we produce enough, let's say pigeon peas, soya beans, we produce seed that is required. There are a lot of seed companies in Malawi, and there are no companies at the moment that are exporting seed under the GTI. Then we'll be able to avoid being a consuming nation. So it's a choice that we have to make as Malawi, and we are imploring on the private sector to take advantage and full advantage of this opportunity by being proactive and exporting, so that we lessen the imports. We cannot reduce or eliminate the imports because sometimes the imports help us in the processes in the industries, but we have to increase the production as well as take advantage of where we can take the products to so that we reduce the imports.
Principal Officer in the Directorate of Trade in Goods and Competition at the AfCFTA, Diana Kaulo Ogwo, said following the progress made on the GTI, many countries are coming to join and more products now are being traded. She said that in the first phase, agricultural commodities dominated in the list of traded products apart from batteries, air conditioning units, among others.
Firstly, you must understand that we do not come to a country if we are not comfortable with its level of preparation. And I want to take this opportunity to commend your government and specifically the Ministry of Trade, Director Charity, Director Trade in Goods, Ministry of Trade and Industry, who has been really our entry point. And they have been able to do a lot of groundwork because for us to start engaging under guided trade initiative, there is a checklist that you must tick off. First, you must have signed the AfCFTA agreement, you must have ratified it, and you must be willing to mobilize your private sector. They have been, the Ministry of Trade has been able to do that. There are a number of things they have been able to do. So we also saw that the government was intentional about putting the right policy environment for the private sector to be able to engage meaningfully in. For example, the National Bank has now signed up to the Pan-African and Payment and Settlement System. This is a platform that will enable your private sector to trade in whatever currency, especially Malawi Kwacha. It allows you to trade using your local currency. We are aware that many countries in Africa are struggling with forex issues. So Malawi is ready actually. We only just need to tie one or two loose ends and we are good to go. And that is why we are here. And we are even more happy because today they have brought for us the private sector so that we can directly also engage with this private sector, share some of the AfCFTA implementation tools with the private sector directly. So I think from here we should be looking up to October that we shall be able to, Malawi will be on the map of AfCFTA trading. Again, that's really a national issue, and as trade progresses, you begin to see where your comparative advantage lies. Yesterday, we were able to visit 2 industries, and they're doing formidable jobs. And then tomorrow, we are going to again see 2 more industries, and we'll see how it progresses. But at the moment, we cannot say we are advising Malawi. All we can do at the moment is to say, to the other stakeholders who are part of GTI, that these are the products we have, these are the countries that have that you can potentially trade with. So it's doing that matchmaking between countries to say, in Malawi they have sugar, maybe they have seeds, they have all these commodities. Who would like to import from Malawi? Similarly, Malawi should also be now able to see what commodities are out there that they can import. So it's also a matter of, assessing your own comparative advantage.
The AfCFTA presents a major opportunity for African countries to bring 30 million people out of extreme poverty and to raise the incomes of 68 million others who live on less than $5.50 per day.
Minority Shareholders Association of Listed Companies, Misaliko, is targeting 56 companies to list on the Malawi Stock Exchange. Its General Secretary, Frank Harawa, says there are a lot of companies that are mandated by law to have part ownership taken up by locals, which has not happened. Harawa explains.
This is an interesting and a sad story for Malawi. That until today, we've got only 16 companies listed on the Malawi Stock Exchange. Only 16 from 1996. It's not on. We started by requesting or lobbying Airtel to list, and Airtel listed. And even that gave us a stamina to go on to reach too many companies to list on the Malawi Stock Exchange. 2023 was the year where we were doing the literacy programs. 2024 has been set aside for companies to list on the Malawi Stock Exchange. These are the initiatives of the Misarigo itself. Misarigo meaning Minority Shareholders Association of Listed Companies. These are Malawians that are saying, no, 16 is not okay. We need to do something as Malawians. So as I'm talking to you now, we've written several companies. We first of all targeted the telecommunication companies, because I think Malawi Telecommunication Company Act 35 is very clear that these companies who are under that act need to give 20 or 25% of their shareholding to Malawians. And that's what we even used when we were lobbying Airtel to list, and they listed. But then we've got several companies that also are supposed to list. So we've written them, we've lobbied them. We are saying to them, you are a potential company, and you've got everything in place, and you can list. And we are there to help when one way or the other if you want any assistance, and so forth. So companies like Global Internet, we talk of maybe we've written the Heroes. We've said please come and list, and several companies in the telecommunication industry, and we've also written Salima Sugar. And we are saying, you see, the whole saga of who's a shareholder, this and that, there is an easy way of solving those things. It's give 25% of the shareholding of the Salima Sugar to Malawians, and the company becomes a public company. Even the television companies, they become public company, and then they are under public scrutiny, because they will read their financial reports, the public will read their financial reports, and it gives a better reputation to a company that list. So we've written this Salima Sugar, and we are saying, please, if you think of where to get the money, come to the stock market. We'll buy the shares there, and we become shareholders. We've also written to EcoBank, and we are saying, you are a bank, we know your shareholding. I think there's a banking act that maybe it was necessary, if possible, that even EcoBank comes on the stock market. And we've written them, and we're still waiting for their response. Lastly, we're preparing a letter, make sure it should say a letter that is going to the Ministry of Mining. And we are saying, mining talks about the resources of Malawi. It's our land, our minerals, and so forth. So we are saying most of the countries of the world, mining companies list on their on their stock exchanges. We would like to see mining companies listing on the Malawi Stock Exchange. We are talking the companies like Tanyike. We're talking of the companies like even Kairekere itself. We want a clear listing of these companies on Malawi Stock Exchange where they give 25% of their shareholding to Malawians. We are talking of the layer stones companies that are coming into Malawi, and we are saying, please, come and list on the Malawi Stock Exchange. If you want money, kwachas in Malawi, then we will give you that money by you list, and we'll give you that money, and then we become the shareholders of that company. Then we share in the resources of this country, and the Malawians will benefit, and you also benefit. So that's what we are doing on the side of listing. We've got more than 56 companies that we are targeting, but at this time we want to work with these ones and see what happens.
Why have these companies not come forth individually to list on the stock market, and they would wait for your push for them to get on board?
I think it looks like Malawi is. We don't care. We don't love our country, because these companies, they don't just come here. They follow the laws of Malawi, and those law enforcers, where are they? Where are they? What are they doing really? We saw some years ago the late Mugabe forcing companies to list in this country. He said, you have to list. And he was talking about even 40-something% listing on the. He said, no, these are resources of Zimbabwe and give back to Zimbabweans. The only way Malawi can give back to the natives of Malawi, it's by these companies listing on the Malawi Stock Exchange, not to an individual. Let me say that again, not to an individual, but by taking your company, putting on the Malawi Stock Exchange, that means Malawians are going to participate in that company. And that's the sad part, because those are supposed to enforce the law. I don't know if they're enforcing it. For example, we're talking about communication companies. The laws are there. And the banks, I don't know. It's sad. So we are saying, we've started this. We'll be lobbying these companies to list on the Malawi Stock Exchange. If they don't want to list, they want to continue in the same way they are doing it, then we may see other ways of making sure that they list. But I believe even by what I'm doing right now, talking about these things, I think government officials will be hearing this, the regulators will be hearing this, and they don't need us to be pushing the regulators to regulate. It's their duty. We pay them to regulate, so let them regulate.
This is Business Time from Times. We'll be right back. Welcome back. State-owned enterprises are crucial for the provision of government services to the people. Efficient state-owned enterprises help the government to be effective. As such, the performance of state-owned enterprises need to be checked time and again to ensure that they help government to deliver on its mandate. Pempero Malimba has the details in this report.
Speaking when presiding over the signing ceremony, Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs Simplex Chilabanda said some SOEs continue making losses owing to excessive expenditures in their operations. Chilabanda said this is forcing many SOEs to continue looking for bailouts from the government.
As you rightly heard from the speakers, many of these SOEs are making losses. They are looking for bailouts. Just very few are the ones that are posting dividends. I think this is where we actually need to work extra hard to make sure that we move from underperformance to performance.
He says there's a need for the SOEs to control their expenditures and start making profits. He observed that only a few SOEs are posting dividends to the Treasury. He disclosed that non-compliant SOEs will be subjected to sanctions and revealed that the ministry will be conducting quarterly audits to assess the operations of the SOEs.
If we are to comply with austerity measures, then we need to start with state-owned enterprises so that we actually cut some costs and have some savings. So this is a very important function for me. But also it provides an opportunity for the ministry and country at large to assess and check progress made by each one of them. So I'm happy that this morning we came here to preside over the signing ceremony of MOUs between Malawi government, my ministry, and the state-owned enterprises.
Lilongora Board Chairperson Nkosiyama Mbero 5 said the board remains committed to complying with the requirements. Mbero 5 revealed that the board has in the current financial year made 2.4 billion kwacha profit and limited 200 million kwacha dividends to the Treasury.
I think as we're concluding the year, Lilongwe Water Board has done quite well. We have posted a profit of about 2.4 billion, and already as a compliance factor that has been highlighted a lot in the meeting today, we have already remitted our dividends of about 200 million to Treasury. So I think the most important thing is for us, because we feed into the national budget, what we give as dividends are also going to be used by Treasury to develop this country. So From Lilongwe Water Board, we do comply, and whether the pension funds, MRIA taxes, everything else, this year we have complied.
The ceremony comes at a time the country has commenced the 2024-2025 financial year.
Well, with that item, we've come to the end of today's edition of Business Time. This is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Chimwemwe Mangazi. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.